It is indeed a pleasure to stand here today to witness the sword turning ceremony of such a meaningful project in the community of Soufriere. As a government, we've been under very heavy criticism about the sports program. And I think it is important that we highlight a few pointers, and we also reassure the people of St. Lucia of the dedication and the focus of this government to deliver a brand new St. Lucia for the people of St. Lucia. When you elected us back in 2016, we campaigned on the slogan, building a new St. Lucia. And while there are many detractors and persons who would attempt to put the programs of the government in a bad light, I have some historical knowledge of what has transpired. And I remember back in the 2006-2011 campaign and coming into office, there was one young man in the cabinet who was determined to become the Minister of Sports and always wanted to be the Minister of Sports, and that is Minister Edmond Estefan. He had a vision as a national athlete who had represented St. Lucia on the international stage. He had a vision for sports and for where he wanted it to go in this country. And we spoke very often about it. It took a lot of time, but they say good things come to those who wait. It was a long time in coming, but he is now the Minister of Youth Development and Sports. And that is one of the first major programs of sports development facilities being undertaken by any government in this country in any period of time. What is happening here today is not just fixing a playing field and putting lights. It is building world-class facilities that can match any facility in any part of the world. And there's no better place to start this project than Soufriere. Place with a World Heritage Site, the pitons that we boast so much about. Why should we have a substandard facility in Soufriere, which is what the parliamentary representative in the person of Honorable Herod Stanislas always speaks about? Soufriere deserves to have the best. And I can say today, Soufriere has one of the best parliamentary representatives it has ever had in the history of its representation. Minister Herod has surprised all of us. His performance, and I can tell you, you don't have to take it from me because you all don't always believe what politicians say. But go and carry out a survey and an interview anywhere with people who deal with the Ministry of Planning. And Minister Herod is standing out as one of the best ministers of planning that we've had in this country. And so I can well imagine why he would not accept anything substandard in St. Lucia, because after all, his ministry would have to sit on it and approve the project. And so, let's put this project in its proper perspective. You've heard a lot of criticism. And I've always said, politically we can do what we want, we can say what we want. But when it comes to people's integrity and international companies who come and offer their services to us in St. Lucia, as a people and as a government, we have a responsibility of integrity towards how we interact with these people. And so all of the allegations in relation to the Packer Company and what the contract was, and all the false documents that have circulated on social media, we are putting everything to rest today in Soufriere, because that is part of the $30+ million that is being spent. It's not a consultancy fee, it is a development program of the Ministry of Youth and Sports and supported by the government of St. Lucia. And when you have visionary leaders, people who have no vision cannot comprehend what visionary leaders do. And so they get all confused about the whole situation. So I will simplify it for those who have difficulty in understanding what a vision is. And I must express thanks in passing to the Taiwanese embassy for their support and the people and government of Taiwan. Because this would not be possible without them. Now I was talking about visionary leadership. Under the leadership of Prime Minister Alan Chasney and the Minister of Sports, they came up with the idea that, look here, every year we get an allocation of $5 million per constituency for the constituency development program. And we felt that this money could be used in different ways. But when you get $1 million a year for your constituency, it limits the nature of the projects that you can undertake. So these projects are not putting any added burden on the taxpayer in St. Lucia. Because that is what I said, visionary leaders are able to see how to utilize what is at their disposal. So the plan came up, and so you may want to put some pressure on Minister Herod Stanislas, but when you understand this, so he agreed not to get $1 million for his constituency development program, but to allow a percentage of it to go towards taking a loan to execute a major project like this. So what the government did was that instead of looking at, okay, $1 million every year, we looked at the constituencies where the programs would be rolled out, and $3 million of the allocation, that is $3 million US from the allocation, would come. We wrote to the Taiwanese government, they agreed to allow us to take the money in advance. So all the government would be paying would be the interest on that loan, but the capital of the loan will be paid by the funds that we are receiving on a yearly basis from the Taiwanese government. So here you have a government that is now rolling programs for sports or facilities of an international standard without putting any major burden on the taxpayers of this country. That is visionary leadership. And that is why we have been able to identify. So you may tell me, well, my project has not started in Soufriere, in Bexon. I would have loved it to start. But I got my $1 million to spend in my constituency. But Minister Herod did not get his full $1 million. He got a percentage of it. But then he gets this facility. So when my turn comes around and the other parliamentarians, we will cut short our allocations and we will allow it to be used for these facilities. Because we need to upgrade the standard of how we do things in St. Lucia.
That's right.
And so I must applaud the Packer Company, that despite all of the criticisms and the negative things leveled at them by persons on social media who do not understand the implications of their behavior in seeking to discredit credible people who have international reputations, and we as a country must condemn such behavior by ill-informed and desperate politicians. What is being done in Soufriere is not being done for a politician. It is being done for the people of St. Lucia, and more primarily the people of Soufriere. Are we saying that the people are not deserving of a world-class facility in this place? Every young sportsman and sportswoman and every veteran would look back and say, I wish that was available in my time. How far we may have gone if we had facilities of that nature. And so in driving sports tourism, I'm happy to hear that this is going to be up to FIFA's international standards. And I am sure that we can attract international games in Soufriere, as you heard Mr. Lockerbie highlight the other needs of FIFA for facilities of this nature. So this is a government that remains focused. There are many detractors. If we had listened to everything that was said, you would backpedal and say, should I go ahead with the program? But I am happy that the Minister of Sports remained resolute. The parliamentary representative for Soufriere said, I want nothing less than the best for the people of Soufriere. And the Prime Minister did not allow himself to be sidetracked by the criticisms. And I applaud the Taiwanese. My ministry has been very much involved in the process of securing the funding, doing all of the negotiations with the Taiwanese, and I'm happy to be affiliated with this project. And the good thing about our method of governance, not because something is under your control that you take everything for yourself first. We analyze the country based on the surveys done by the Ministry of Sports, and we identify the priority areas. And the priority areas are going to get the projects rolled out. But I want every young sportsman and woman in St. Lucia to know and to understand that we are not just developing facilities, but we are putting up the programs to back it up. And in the coming years, there will be major facilities in as many places as are needed so that we can take sports to the next level. This is a commitment of a visionary government where the vision is now not just a vision but a reality. We are delivering on what we promised. And I know that after people see this facility in Soufriere, then they will have a much better appreciation of the work program of this government and what we will continue to deliver for the people of St. Lucia. I thank you and may God bless you.